Merry Christmas, everyone. Doesn't it feel great to be this time of year? I'll be honest, it does not feel like Christmas to me. I don't know if it's the lack of snow or the lack of decorations or the fact that I'm old and single and alone. Not really. I mean, I'm like 27, almost 28. So I'm not that old, but I am single. But I also live at home with my dad, brother, and sister, so wouldn't say that I'm particularly alone ever. There's always someone here, but either way, it hasn't really felt like Christmas, and that's been kind of the gist for a few years now, so I was like, "Oh, how can I, like, mix that up? How can I get into the Christmas spirit?" And usually I like to kick my Christmas spirit off with on Thanksgiving, I like to watch a Christmas movie, not like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but something a little more for adults. Like, my all-time favorite Christmas movie is Fred Claus, Vince Vaughn, Paul Giamatti, Kevin Spacey. What's not to like at a certain point? It's so good. It's so good. With anything with Vince Vaughn is fantastic. But I didn't watch that this year. I think I watched The Long Kiss Goodnight. We've talked about this. I like to do a Christmas movie. Sometimes it's an action Christmas movie, they're not like Die Hard. Fucking why not? But that didn't really get me in the mood this year, just like the past couple years, and I was like, "I gotta try and do something." So I started listening to a little bit more Christmas music, a little Michael Bublé. The Michael Bublé Christmas is a perfect Christmas album, and I gotta be like, "Baby It's Cold Outside" is the best Christmas song by far. It's the only duet that I know of that's fucking cool. I know like, some of the tone, like, the subliminal messaging may not be great, but it's undeniably catchy and really good, especially when the Boobs does it, Michael Bublé, when he does it, it's so good. How are we gonna stand against a song that in the movie Elf, Zoe Deschanel sang in the shower while Will Ferrell stood outside? How can we complain when a naked woman was in the shower singing a song while a guy, unbeknownst to her, was standing outside of the shower singing along with her quietly without her knowledge in a kids movie? How are we going to sit here and say that that's bad? That seems fine to doesn't it seem fine to everyone else? Baby It's Cold Outside is it's a good song. Okay. If Zoe can sing it in the shower while naked in a kids movie and a guy sings along quietly without her knowledge, how is that bad? That's a good song. That's a good song. Yeah, like, we should probably get into some football, but it's my favorite Christmas song. Let's talk football. Was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even Miles Garrett, who hoped to break sack records on Josh Allen that night, but came up short, only half. What a tough sight. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while Drake May and Brock Purdy dropped dimes on DB's heads. Sunday night, Monday night, football was great. Purdy threw 5 touchdowns, a career high rate. When out on the roof there arose such a clatter, I jumped from my chair to see what was the matter. The Lions lost to the Steelers, and now I'm confused. Are the Steelers legit, or are the Lions just bruised? The playoffs elude some of those same old faces. The Giants, the Titans, the Saints, and the Raiders. Straight down went the Browns, the Jets, and the Bengals. And finally, fuck the Chiefs. All those damn assholes. It's Christmas Eve, and I think this past weekend was the first time since 2014, as long as I have the record straight, since 2014, this was the first time since then that the Kansas City Chiefs have played meaningless football. And it was nice to see. I don't know if that was going into the game, if that was the case, or if it was because of that game that that was the case. And everyone just kind of knew that that would be the deal, that they weren't going to, like, make the playoff push. Honestly, don't remember. Didn't think of that until after I finished reading the poem. And now I'm not going to look it up because that's how I do things here. The Chiefs are at, I don't want to talk about the Chiefs anymore. I do feel bad. I mean, we talked about it all last week. I feel bad that Mahomes tore his ACL and his LCL, and that kind of takes away from, the everything of the Chiefs being eliminated. But man, did they fucking look like it this past weekend, huh? I think they had oh, you know what? I don't think they had the biggest deprecation of score, because I think the Jets were like 29-6 or something like that against the Saints. But but the Chiefs only scoring 9 points is kinda like, well, that makes sense, you know? You kinda wish Gardner Minshew was a little bit better just because he's fucking fun, like, he's a cool, fun guy, but, yeah, who gives a fuck, really? You know what I mean? Like, the Chiefs lost like they should be doing, and how we all hope they would. Is it kinda not as sweet? Yeah. Does it suck that Gardner Minshew also got hurt? Yes, of course. Don't wish injuries on anybody. But sometimes when they happen, we don't mind as much. But well, I'll never wish for them. But when it happened to Patrick Mahomes, I was like, oh, okay. That's, that is what it is. Like, not going to lose sleep over that one. But I don't want to talk about the Chiefs. What I do want to talk about are the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott's glasses. Now, I was fucking all over this. I was all over it. I said it weeks ago. If when I put it up, I put it up on Twitter. 10/13, October 13th was the first time I brought it up. I don't remember seeing McDermott with the glasses on before. Why are they clear frames? That's a Mike McDaniels move, and I don't like it. Seems to be hurting the team. And I stand by that. Also on 10/13, McDermott needs to lose those fucking glasses too. No way the clear frames are having a positive impact on the team. Sharpen up. 10/16, great head coaches with glasses, Andy Reid. Bad head coaches with glasses, Mike McDaniels. And these are clear frame square glasses. These aren't dad glasses like Andy Reid. They're very like cool guy Mike McDaniel glasses. I thought about it for weeks. I even ended that post. I said, am I crazy? Fucking no, I wasn't crazy. The Buffalo Bills are like 3-3 when he wears the glasses. And I don't remember what the record, like 7-4 when he doesn't wear them or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but what I do know is that the glasses are making a negative impact. I was 100% right. The glasses are not good, especially the fact that they're clear frames. He's got to go no glasses. Got to keep sticking fingers and eyeballs and putting in contact lenses. It feels so good to be on top of something before everyone else. Now, do I know if that's officially the case? No, because I've noticed it back in October, and I was like, I don't remember seeing those glasses before, and I don't like the way they look. They're giving a bad vibe. And you ever just know something in your bones? Because that's what happened. My bones. I was like that. Well, Will Ferrell in Eastbound and Down. I was like, I could feel it deep, deep in my plums. I felt it deep in my plums that those glasses were no good, and I was fucking right. And it just feels good because now I've seen some of the the bigger shows that kind of do the same thing we do here. I've seen a lot of the bigger shows. having the stance of, oh, this is the record with the glasses on and without the glasses. And it just feels nice to be ahead of something. When these guys are like, well, these are the pros, and you go, nah, I'm gonna jump on this one early. I'm gonna fire this one off. Feels good. I don't have much to say on it. Don't have much to say in the game. Um, Bills Browns, kind of exactly what you would expect. Um, from a game like this, a spot where the Bills played the Patriots last week and got a big win. We're looking ahead to the Eagles on next. I wouldn't say we're looking ahead, but we do have a game against the Eagles coming up this coming weekend. And it's like, yeah, the Browns, fucking whatever. No one gives a shit. Like the Browns covered the spread. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, we let them back in at the end. It's fine. We were gonna win this game. Myles Garrett didn't get a full sack. He didn't break the record against Josh Allen. That's what I cared about. That's really all I cared about in this game was don't let Myles Garrett break the record. Don't let the Browns win. And that was easy peasy. Lemon squeezy, got it done. Just fucking writing checks home to mom type of shit. And that's what I like. That's what I like to see. And it felt good to just be like, yeah, okay. We're not taking this game too seriously. What I do take seriously, because I got asked this week, and I've been thinking about it. I got asked if the Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl. Didn't say. I don't think they asked when if we win the Super Bowl or not. I think it was just if they don't make it. Will I think of the Bills as frauds? And I would say no to that. I said no at the time. I mean, they're the only team. So I think they've got a 6-year streak of winning 11 games a season. And to my knowledge, that is a 6-year streak. And they're the only, or the longest, that's the longest streak in the NFL currently. 6 years in a row winning 11 games. That doesn't seem very fraudulent to me. That seems very consistent. When I think of like fraudulent teams, I think more, I don't want to say Tampa Bay is fraudulent, but the way they were winning games early in the season makes me feel like they were a little fraudulent. The way they're always getting like a, game-winning drive, last possession of the game is what determines it type of thing. Those are the kinds of things that make me feel like they're fraudulent. Big frauds, I think, right now, which a lot of people are going to be, pushing on, but they're like, oh, the Broncos are a bad team. And one of their players, I wish I had written the quote down. I could not find it afterwards. Um, one of the players on the Broncos said, "Hey, keep your tone. Don't start saying that we're a bad team now that we lost to the Jags." Like, and yes, I agree. Don't start saying it now. If you were saying they were good, don't start calling them bad now, because people like me were sitting here over on the side saying, "Nah, something's off about that," long before. If we want to talk about a fraudulent team in the playoffs right now, I think it might be the Broncos, because they're doing exactly what happened with Tampa Bay, where they just kept winning games late. And it was always the fourth quarter that they were finding ways to pull these games out. And that is something that makes me go, you can't trust this team. And the Jaguars proved it. The Jaguars have been relatively consistent this year. I mean, they're like, what, 11-4 or something like that? 10-4, 11-4, whatever. And that is a pretty consistent team. When they win games, they're winning them fairly convincingly. They have like game-winning drives, but that's not been the story with the Jaguars. But it has been the story with the Broncos, where it's like, yo, fucking, you keep winning late. That's not a recipe for success. Look at the Chiefs last year, okay? The Chiefs were winning like a ridiculous amount of one-score games, like 11 one-score games or something like that. They had won. Like game-winning drive. Like that doesn't happen. And then, yeah, they made it to the Super Bowl, but they still lost the Super Bowl like 35-8 or whatever the fuck it was. Like it was a pretty fucking handed loss in the Super Bowl last year. You look at the year before, I think it was the year before that, Kirk Cousins Vikings, where they had won like 14 one-score games, and then they got knocked out in the first or second round of the playoffs. Like, so it's if they're winning the like too many close games, like, yeah, on one hand you want to go like, oh well, it's a very clutch team who finishes down the stretch. On one hand, yes, that is good, but you see it too many times, and that's when it's like, okay, eventually they're gonna get into a game where, yeah, the other team does the same fucking thing and they're gonna lose. That's just how it goes. So if I'm calling a fraudulent team, it's gonna be the team that I've said it's been all season, where it's the Broncos, dude. Like, these are the guys who don't really seem like a threat. And I mean, I could break down the whole AFC. I've done it already. But you look at that's what puts me off on the Broncos. Is like, yeah, they're good. Like, Bo Nix has not looked bad. He's made some good throws. I think statistically he's a little worse this year. I don't know. And he's made some good throws. He's winning games. He's on a 12-win team. I believe first in the AFC. Fucking good for you, dog. That's sick. But when you layer in some of the context, it makes me go like, I don't know about that. It gives you reason to worry. If you want to pick a fraudulent team in the AFC, I'll stick with the AFC. I don't know about the NFC. In the AFC, it's the Broncos. The NFC, it gets a little more complicated. I mean, we don't even know who's going to finish in first place right now. It's still like, I think the Rams are up there, Seattle's up there. The fucking 49ers are still up there. They have to win out. If the 49ers win out, all of a sudden they're in the first seed. And that's fucking crazy. Like, but the realistic possibility with the NFC and what makes it so tough to tell really what's going on. For one, I follow the AFC more just because that's where the Bills play. But the NFC, like, you could realistically be like, I don't know, like an 11-win team, I think, in the NFC and not make the playoffs. Like, that's how stacked the NFC is this year, and they're all pretty good teams. Are any of them like world-breaking teams? I don't know. Are the plot lines as interesting? I don't know. Not to me right now. Definitely not to me right now, but there are some fucking good teams in the NFC all throughout. And when I look at the AFC, I go, these are some fraudulent ass teams, especially because of how many new teams there are, or how many young teams there are. Or there's just something about damn near every team in the AFC that I don't trust. And I hate to say it, but it's with the Bills too. I don't trust their wide receivers. And I don't really feel like I trust their run defense or their fucking you know, pass pressure. Like, it's just something seems off about it. But the Broncos, like, I don't think they're what they held up to be. And I wish I could credit the player who said it on the Broncos, who was like, don't change your tune now. And I just want him to know, if in some way he hears this, do not worry. I'm not changing my tone. Not about the Broncos. I'm holding strong in the fact that, yes, you guys are a bad team. I've thought that for weeks. Or not that you're bad. You're a fraudulent team. I've thought that for weeks. You can beat anybody. Yes, but I don't want to be in the spot where beating anybody includes the younger, like the worst teams in the one possession game. I don't wanna hear, "Oh, we can take any team in a one possession game." Like, yeah, I'm sure you can, but that's not where I wanna be. If I'm the Broncos, I like, 'cause you don't wanna be in a one possession game with some of these guys. Like, when you look at like, the score for, and I understand the context, and this is a little scattered, I didn't plan this particular segment out as much. When you look at the context, that, like, the person who asked me, "Are the Bills frauds if they don't make it to the Super Bowl?" Because the Chiefs aren't in it, the Ravens aren't in it, and the Bengals aren't in it. For one, the Bengals have made the playoffs once under Joe Burrow, would not consider them a threat. Not at all. The Ravens have never beaten the Bills in the playoffs under Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen respectfully. Which one is it? Is it I thought it was respectfully for a while, but I've also seen it written down recently and it said respectively, and I don't know what is correct because I don't know what respectively means, but I do know what respectfully means. Anyway, with Lamar at quarterback and Josh Allen at quarterback, I don't believe, to my knowledge, I don't think the Ravens have ever beaten the Bills in the playoffs. Is that accurate? I don't know. I could be wrong. Would not rule out that it's wrong. But I don't think it is. I think every time we've been knocked out of the playoffs, it was the Chiefs, except the one year that it was the Bengals, and the Bengals haven't been in the playoffs since then. Joe Burrow's second year. We haven't seen him since then. So are the Ravens really a credible threat? No. Now the Chiefs is the biggest proponent to this argument. I will cede that point. Totally fair. If you want to say, well, if the Bills win the Super Bowl, it's fraudulent because they didn't beat the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes got hurt and then they didn't make the playoffs. It's like, yes, true. Technically, the Bills or technically the Chiefs were not eliminated before Patrick Mahomes left with an injury. But then they were eliminated, and it's like, whatever. I don't think they were going to get there if Patrick Mahomes was still healthy. Now, can you rule him out? No, because it's Mahomes and Andy Reid. But they just didn't seem good this year outside of that. Like, they were really just not performing up to the same standard. And, and that's fine. I don't think I hold that. If I was unbiased, I wouldn't hold that against the Bills. Like, if they make it to the Super Bowl, it's like, okay, well, you still had to deal with the Texans defense, which is the best in the league, most likely. Like the Broncos, who are one of the most well-rounded teams in the league, despite the fact they win from late, they still win a lot of games. The Patriots are fucking executing very well. Drake May deserves to be in the conversation for MVP. Do I think he should win it? No. Will I be upset if he wins it? Yes, but that's as a Bills fan, not as an unbiased onlooker. Either like the teams that are going to make the play, like they are good. There are aspects about them that can be real problems, and if they make it to the Super Bowl, I would never be like, well, this is obviously a fraudulent Super Bowl team. Or if the Bills made, I wouldn't be like, well, who did they have to play? The 13-4 Broncos? Oh, what did they have to play? The 12-5 or whatever? I don't know the numbers. The 12-5 Texans? Or how about the Jags, who are fucking super hot right now? Like, no. Because all that is the same argument. It's the same argument that the Patriots fan base cops to. And they go, well, you can only play who's in front of you. And, like, yes. On one hand, yes. Does context matter? Yes. But the moment you flip that argument on them, they'll be pissed because a Patriots fan is the one who posed this question to me of, is it fraudulent if the Bills make it to the Super Bowl? No, because you can only play who's in front of you. Are the Patriots fraudulent because they played one? Because their record against winning teams or teams with a winning record is 1-2. Does that make the Patriots fraudulent? And all of them would say no. So, it's like, and that's what would happen. People would pick and choose the way they want to manipulate the arguments. It only works when it suits them. And I go, you know what? I do the exact same thing, and I'm going to say no. It doesn't make them fraudulent because I am a fan first, which means I am biased, and I will pick and choose the stats and facts that lend themselves to my narrative that I like. Because I'm a man. And more importantly, I'm an American. And that means I'm dug in. And I'm set in my ways. And I will never change. That being said, God, it must hurt Patriots fans that Tyler Shuck got a 300-yard game before Drake May. Now I'm saying that out loud, and I realize that I have not fact checked that information. So I am going to do that now, and it would be a real fucking foot in my mouth if that turns out to not be the case. Oh my God, where is the game? Here we go. All right. Moment of truth. Saints 29, Jets 26. Tyler Shuck threw 308 yards. Now, technically, that is before Drake May did it. Tyler Shuck threw a 300-yard game before Drake May. Can you really call yourself an MVP if the likes of Jacoby Brissett and Tyler Shuck threw a 300-yard game before you? With Jacoby Brissett, I think he's had a couple of 400-yard games. Are you really an MVP? Or if you won the MVP, would you be fraudulent because you didn't get it done before some of these other guys? I think, yeah. Now, like I said, Drake May deserves to be in the running. Do I think he deserves to win? No. I truly do think it's going to be Matt Stafford. If I had to pick, like, who is truly the most valuable player in the league, I think it's still tough to argue against Josh Allen. But in terms of betting, because I don't get to vote, in terms of betting, I would bet on Matt Stafford. Because, like, yeah, the narrative is there, and it's a media award, so the narrative matters. I'm not a fool. I'm not some dirty idiot fool who doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, I understand how these things are, like, done up and projected and made to be the award winners. Because it's all the guys who fucking, like, write newspaper articles or just talk online or whatever I don't know who. I know media members are in charge of voting. I don't know who those media members are because they are largely anonymous, I think. I don't know that for sure. It's very possible I could Google it and get, every, like, 130 some odd people who vote on this award or whatever it is. But if I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna choose to live that. It's basically the MVP voters are a secret society of media members who gather in a cabal or secret room underground underneath the uh, the NFL Football Hall of Fame, and they have a meeting there, and they conduct business and vote on who the MVP is. I think that's where they might do that. I'm not 100% that that's true, but that's the narrative that I like to believe. Because it's better that way, isn't it? You gotta have a little spruce up in your life. It's more fun that way. Try it. But no, I don't think the Bills are frauds. But I'm gonna manipulate that argument and say that, well, the Patriots are frauds if Drake May wins the MVP. Now, again, I stand by, if you want to give the coach of the year to Mike Vrabel, I'm all cool with that. I mean, I knew with the win total, like, I think it was listed at 8.5. I think a lot of people went above that. I think I had him at 9 wins to start the season. And that's because of Vrabel, because I think they had fucking 4 wins before that. And Vrabel's going above and beyond. He's gotten Drake May into an MVP conversation. So I can see the coach of the year. This is not the first time I've talked about this. The MVP, I'm still out on Drake May. And a lot of that is because Patriots don't deserve it. However, I'm flipping the argument a little bit, where I'm coming around to maybe I want Drake May to win the MVP. Because I did a little digging. And what that digging showed me was that in the past, since I don't remember how many long is it, 30 years? In the past 30 years, only twice has the MVP won or been to the Super Bowl. I believe won the Super Bowl. Only twice. 1996, I believe it was, Kurt Warner won the Super Bowl after winning the MVP. In 2022, Patrick Mahomes, I believe, won the Super Bowl after winning the MVP. But what that tells you and what history will show you is that MVPs don't win Super Bowls. So where I land on the argument is going to be in flux of, do I want Drake May to win the MVP? Because if he wins the MVP, history shows us that he will not win a Super Bowl. And that will be good. That will feel nice as a Bills fan. Like, I don't want Josh Allen to win the MVP this year because I want to win a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean I don't think he's the MVP. That just means I don't want him to win it this year. The Patriots, I don't want them to win a Super Bowl. So maybe I do want Drake May to win the MVP. You see how I'm back and forth on this whole thing? It's hard to tell. It's hard to decide where I land because this little bit of research that I did over the past week has really been weighing on me quite heavily. And I just don't know what I want to do with that. Don't know where I land with it. But it is something to think about. You know what I mean? I do want to take just 1 second, and we're doing our plugs now. We're doing our ads in the middle. It's a grown-up move. It's an adult move we're trying to do on this podcast. If you guys enjoy the show, please go follow us on Twitter. We get a lot of takes up there. Pat on the back 25 on Twitter that don't necessarily make it to the show. You know, some of the things, it might be during a game, it might be a fucking one-off. I might reply to something and then realize later that I have changed my mind and I don't believe in that anymore. So I'll completely ignore that it happened. I'll never delete it, but I will ignore that it happened. I have done that move a couple times where I went like, oh yeah, you know what? I do actually agree with this person more than I agree with my own opinion. Not afraid to walk something or just completely ignore the existence of an opinion that I've now changed. I have no shame. If you like listening to more comedy-oriented podcasts, go check out Rudy Tuesday. That is a very, very fun podcast that I do with Breck Michael and Rudy Marinosi that comes out every Tuesday, anywhere you get your podcasts. This past week, we had on a very good friend of ours, Adrian Morse. We did a draft of supervillains on that show, which was fantastic. A really good time. Also discussed, citizens arrests and things like that. It's a fun hangout type of show where nothing that we say actually matters. Very good times. This has gone on way too long. I've said this several weeks in a row. I really need to write out like an ad chunk for that. Otherwise, I do just kind of ramble, and I think having it written down would be better if it was scripted because then it would flow. It wouldn't take 4 to 5 minutes to do the promotion for it, but then I also wouldn't get to ramble on this, like talk about doing the promotion. Do you see? It is quite a conundrum. Anyway, another thing that I have noticed popping up, which I thought was pretty interesting, is that number one picks or former number one picks are kind of starting to figure it out this year. Okay, so we look at Trevor Lawrence, the prince that was promised, the prince of darkness. Depending on what you believe about his hair color, I still think there's a conspiracy that his hair color might actually be way darker than we're led to believe. The Jags are looking really good. I think they've got 11 wins on the season. A lot of it is coaching. Who is it? What's his name? Liam Cohen or whatever? Leon Cohen? I don't remember his name. I always fuck it up. So they look really good. Okay. Then we bounce over to the next one after. Bryce Young is a former number one pick over CJ Stroud. I almost like the Panthers right now more than I like the Texans. Not more than the Texans defense, but more than the Texans as an entirety, as a whole team. Bryce Young's got the Panthers looking good. And now Caleb Williams is blowing up as I think I saw power rankings where they had the Bears at number 5. Former number 1 pick quarterbacks are really starting to make some waves in their respective conferences. And it's a cool fucking thing to see especially if I'm one of the guys who drafted one of those guys, because then I'd be like, "Oh, see, everyone thought I was fucking crazy." But no, I'm not crazy. I knew what I was talking about. Caleb looks good. Bryce looks good. T-Law looks good. Good things are happening with these number 1 picks. I don't even understand how it can be like, I know assessing a quarterback can be difficult. Now I'm not gonna count the COVID year because that was how could you tell? Like, that was the Zach Wilson year. How could you tell? You know what I mean? Like, the COVID fucked everything up in terms of scouting. No one was playing actual games. Fuck that. You cannot use that draft class as an analysis. But the ones around it are starting to take shape in like a way that you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Now, I don't remember what year all these guys were drafted in, but I know that Trevor Lawrence becoming a good quarterback really pisses me the fuck off. I've talked about it already. I know I have. We're doing a lot of rehashing on the narratives this week. That is okay. Trevor Lawrence drives me fucking nuts. But if I'm the dude in the room who the first guy in the Jaguars front office who went, "Do y'all know about Trevor Lawrence?" I don't care when it was. This could have been freshman year. Go, "Y'all know about Trevor Lawrence? Maybe we should plot to get this guy." Hell yeah. That has worked out quite well for them. Very, very well for them. I'd be fucking stoked if that were the case for me. And Bryce Young, everyone was like, "Oh, CJ Stroud." I don't like CJ Stroud. I like Bryce Young right now a lot more than CJ Stroud in terms of a prospect. There's CJ's too wishy-washy for me. There are times where he looks like, the MVP candidate in like 2023 or whatever it was. And there's a lot of times where he looks like the 2024 CJ Stroud from last year, where we're like, yo, what the fuck is going on with this guy? He fucking sucks now. But Bryce Young is good. But Bryce Young is developed exactly the way you want him to. He went to I think, a way worse franchise than the Texans. The Texans have always, they haven't always been good, but they've always felt stable to me. They never felt like chaotic or like they made a lot of bad choices or like they were just unfortunate, like a lot of things didn't work out for them. They never felt that way to me. But the Panthers never felt like they were ever going to be successful once. Kind of like the Giants. The Giants are fucking insane how bad. The Giants are so bad. I think I tried to rebuild them twice in Madden and I got fired both times. Like I can't do it. That's how fucked they are. But the Panthers were a similar case where I was like, I liked Bryce Young. I saw the appeal. Did I buy him as a quarterback? Like is he a Josh Allen type guy where he's just gonna fucking work? No. But is he you put him in the right system, and I think if he was playing for Mike McDaniel this entire time, we would not even be remotely worried about it. I think he's got a deceptively strong arm compared to Tua, where, yeah, he's not gonna shy away and for one, he doesn't get hurt as much. I think he's got a stronger arm. I think he would be better in the cold, frankly, and I know that's more of a cultural issue with the Dolphins, but why can't Bryce Young be better in the cold? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have the narrative of, "Oh, these guys are bad in the cold." He's just got the narrative of, "Oh, these guys are not particularly good on the road," which has changed, I feel like, because I haven't been seeing or hearing anyone say that in a hot minute, you know what I mean? Like, so the Panthers are looking good, and then Caleb Williams, I'll be honest, on Caleb Williams, I thought he was gonna be a good player eventually. Thought it was gonna take more than 2 years. I thought it was gonna take getting rid of the nail polish, which I don't know if he did or not. I didn't fact check that, but I know that I wasn't a huge on it before, like Didn't didn't trust it. Did not trust my number one pick franchise quarterback wearing nail polish and having a pink phone and all that kind of stuff. Something about it. It felt like it was like, okay, this guy might have trouble in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be tough for him to be a leader within the franchise because of some of these decisions that he's making. Do I really care personally? I don't give a fuck. If it doesn't affect my happiness, I don't give a shit what color your phone is, bro. Not one iota. Do I think that there are some people who do care about that stuff? Particularly some of the dudes who are intense individuals like professional athletes or, fucking NFL head coaches who are a little more, a little more old school, I would say. Yeah, I think that would matter to them in terms of a tone setting situation. I think that would matter a lot. Apparently not, though. Not when you've got Ben Johnson taking his shirt off and screaming and yelling and shitting in lockers and throwing it at people or whatever he does in his spare time. I don't know, but the guy's fucking a maniac in a good way where he's been strong and I don't want to say single handedly turned the franchise around because did we all forget that the Pope is from Chicago? Did we all forget that? I think that that may have slipped by the waysides on some people. That the Pope is from Chicago. Pope Leo XIV. I don't remember what number that is, but Pope Leo. The Bears, they were bad last year, and then Pope Leo from Chicago went to Villanova. American, fucking hell yeah. Pope Leo gets elected in 2025. Then the Bears record in 2025 currently is 11-4. And would it really surprise you if they won one, maybe two more games? Not really. So the Pope plus Ben Johnson plus the painted nails of Caleb Williams, all of a sudden you got a good team. And I thought, okay, let me look at some historically stuff. Like, is there any deeper relation that goes back in time? Because popes hold office for a fucking hot minute. If we go back in time, what are the correlations between the Bears being good and the new pope coming in? The new pope. So not counting Leo, I looked at the last couple. I looked at the last three. St. John Paul II, St. Benedict, XVI, whatever number that is, and St. Francis. I believe Francis was the first Francis, so he's just St. Francis. But we look back. St. John Paul II was elected October 16th in 1978 until 2005. Now the Bears record, we're only looking at that first year because that's what we have for Leo. So we're only looking at the first year. The Bears record in 78 was 7-9. But the following season in 79, they went to 10-6. Not a bad turnaround. St. Benedict, XVI, was elected in 05 to 2013. The Bears record in 05 was 11-5. The Bears record in 06 was 13-3. Another time where the Bears didn't have really a bad season, but they did get better the following season. Now we look at Pope Francis, who was elected in 2013 and served until 2025 when he retired or stepped down, or he may have passed away. I don't remember. I didn't write that particular fact down, but the Bears record in 2013 was 8-8, and then in 2014 it was 5-11. And now obviously the Bears 2025 with the new Pope Leo is 11-4. So what does that pattern tell us when we look at it all? We look at the 7-9 team of 78, the 11-5 team of 05, and the 8-8 team of 2013. All of that put together really showed me no pattern whatsoever, if I'm being completely honest. Doesn't really seem to be a link to the Bears and all the Pope's first year. It really just seems like this one. And I was like, "Oh, maybe it's just the progress of like, oh, the first year is not a terrible year, and then the second year they get better." But then Pope Francis really kinda destroyed that with his stint in 2014 where the Bears got a worse record. So, officially, as far as I can tell with my very limited research that I really did in like 10 minutes, there's no real big link between the popes and the Bears, except for the current Pope Leo. But hey, you know what? A win's a win. A dub's a dub. Chicago, you got one in a big office, and the Bears are good at the same time. It's gotta be what it is. How can it not be what it is? That seems to make sense to me, doesn't it? Again, I could be wrong. Maybe there could be a link between those 2 I don't know. I didn't dig that deep. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But the fucking Bears and what a more appropriate time. Talk about Christmas, talk about the Pope, talk about the Bears. Pope and the Bears. Isn't it weird how Joe Burrow kinda bounced back this week, though? Like, he was all depressed and sad last week, and then he scored 45 points and threw for 4 touchdowns against the Dolphins. Now, is that the Dolphins being bad? I don't know. Or did Joe Burrow trick us? Did he trick you know what I didn't check on, which I'm now thinking of? Did he publicly announce his relationship with, Miss Tanamago Tanogo to Olivia, Miss Olivia? Is it public? Oh, it wasn't Oli wait. Joe Burrow's longtime girlfriend was Olivia Halsmacher, but recent reports from late 2024 and 2025 suggest he is now dating model Olivia Ponton. Again, that's not a real update, that's a suggestion. What I didn't notice before, because that is just his rumor girlfriend, Olivia Ponton, was that his last girlfriend is also named Olivia. That's kinda weird. I didn't notice that little detail when I did my research from last week, but that is strange that he's pulling that move. I always thought that that would be odd. Like, I have an ex an ex, who we'll just call T. I have an ex named T, short for Tegan, and I don't think I would date a Tegan right after I broke up with a Tegan. That seems odd, doesn't it? Or a Brianna after a Brianna, or a Sarah after a Sarah. I didn't date a Sarah, but you get my point. Um, that just seems like a weird move. Didn't pick up on that before. That could be bad juju. I'd have to look some more into that. The Joe Burrow conspiracy theories run deep in this household. Um, anyway, I thought for a second, maybe, just maybe, Joe Burrow had publicly stated something about Miss Ponton. Does not appear that he did. So, was it a bit of a bait and switch situation with the fucking Bengals and trying to force his hand of like, oh, yeah, see, I told you I'm not happy. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm not happy. And now he goes, okay, well, I feel a little better. I got that out of my system. Let me show you what it looks like when I'm playing happy. And you scored 45 points and threw for 4 touchdowns. Hey, brother, that's what we want to see. I still think you should leave the Bengals and go to the Rams, depending on what Matt Stafford does. I think there's a lot of teams you should go to. But putting up 45 points, he may have fooled us all. He may have just outright tricked us into believing that he was a sad boy, when in all reality, he is a genius operating on the highest level that we couldn't possibly understand. I would not rule that out because, man, oh man, did he fucking get us really bad, honestly. Like, that was fuck. I did not see that coming. I I think I still had the 49ers to win, but Jesus Christ, not like that. That was more like, yo, these fucking Dolphins are pretty bad. And now we're gonna see what they look like without Tua, who we have to assume has been their best quarterback, though they are going to move on. I don't even know if there's anything else worth talking about. Oh, yes, that's right. The Steelers and the Lions. Steelers 29, Lions 24. The Lions might miss the playoffs this year. This has been I don't know if they're officially like statistically eliminated, but man, doesn't it feel like they're just broken or something? Like the losses of their two coordinator core Jesus Christ, their two coordinators, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, seems to be a fucking pretty big hit to these guys. Now, you can expect that with a new coordinator, a new play caller, what have you, there's going to be some adjustment period. But you would also hope that come week 16, 17, 18, you weren't sitting there staring at an 8-7 record. Now, do they just not have magic this year? Entirely possible. I'm not going to rule that out. But something seems off about them because I don't see a world where this Lions roster should be losing to a 42-year-old Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers Steelers team. Like, 'cause that's still one of the things that baffles me. I mean, you look at Philip Rivers on the Colts, and he looks old and overweight and just not particularly good, honestly. I that the black and blue uniforms they were wearing on Monday night did not do anybody any favors for those. So he didn't look good in that uniform. But I saw Aaron Rodgers in the Steelers uniform this past weekend, and I was like, Jesus, your face looks old in that helmet, man. Like, not that you're old, or not that you look old or whatever, but your face just looked like a grumpy old man kind of face. It looked like a guy who's like, "Yo, why are you out here? What are you doing? This is beating the shit." You don't look happy. You look out of place in a very bad way. You look like it's wrong for you to be on the football field. But then he'll go out and fucking sling rock and beat a team like the Lions, where Jared Goff is arguably, a top 6 or 7 quarterback in the league coming into the season. But Aaron Rodgers throws the ball, what was it, like fucking 41 times for 266 yards? Like, that's wild. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be throwing the ball 41 fucking times at his age. I think fucking Philip Rivers did a similar thing this weekend. P. Riv threw the ball 35 times, 277 yards. The old dogs are out there slinging it. Even Matt Stafford. He's not he's not quite as old, but he's like 36, 7, 8, something like that. He's getting up there a little long in the tooth. Aaron Rodgers and Philip Rivers look so long in the tooth that fucking you got to shave it down. I don't have a way to finish that expression, but yo, the shit's long as fuck, dog. Like, they just don't look. They look old, but they're performing in a way that I do not expect every single week. And then when they play bad, I'm like, yeah, what do you expect? But then they have games like this where they throw the ball like 35 to 41 times, and you're like, Dak Prescott should be throwing the ball that much. Dak Prescott's best when he throws the ball like 25 times or less. Anytime he throws the ball more than 30, they fucking lose and they're dog shit. And you got Aaron Rodgers throwing at 41, Philip Rivers throwing at 35. Philip Rivers doesn't even put any zip on the ball anymore. It was crazy to see those performances. That was a little rambly. And if I'm being completely honest with you, that may have been a little bit of clock filler. But it was wild. It was wild. I didn't see that coming at all. A 29-point game from Pittsburgh? No, not at all. Is it too far to say that somehow with Aaron Rodgers, who sucked on the Jets, in the past couple years, like, when he left Green Bay, it had been a couple years since he had played, like, good football, in my opinion, between injuries and just, poor performance, and then he went to the Jets and he sucked, and now he's in Pittsburgh, and you're like, "Is this the best offense Pittsburgh has had in like, since the days of Big Ben? Is that possible?" And fuck it, it might be possible, like, that I don't think we can rule that out anymore, which is crazy to say. But he went in and he got into a shootout with Jared Goff in the rest of the Lions, and you're like, "Yo, didn't see that shit coming. That's fucking crazy." On the road, nonetheless. They went to Detroit to do this game. I don't know. That was a little rambling. That was a little rambling. Maybe a little bit of a filibuster time filler thing to breach the gap, but that's okay. I'm gonna edit it down or not. Maybe I'll just let it ride. Who the fuck knows? But guys, that's the show for today. Um, not as much fucking juice to dig into, but we're going into Christmas, so hey, I'm fucking taking it easy, I guess. All right, I'm on vacation from my actual paying job, not this. I'm never gonna take a break from this. But guys, it's been great time talking to you. We're gonna see you next week with what does this come out on New Year's Eve next week? Exciting stuff. Maybe I'll think of something fun to do for that. I don't fucking know. But guys, tons of fun as always. Thank you so much for listening. We very much appreciate it. Go check out Rudy Tuesday. We very much appreciate you listening over there. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate that sort of thing, or if you celebrate Hanukkah, have a happy Hanukkah, or if you celebrate another holiday that I am just blissfully, well, I don't want to say blissfully, if there's another holiday that I'm not aware of, if you celebrate that, that's cool too. But honestly, if it's not one of those big two, what are we really talking about? Like, is it even worth bringing up? Like Rosh Hashanah or something like that? I don't know when that takes place. But yeah, guys, that's the show for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you guys. Love you guys.